I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on inverse trigonometric functions. Let us try to understand how to sketch graph of sine inverse of sine x. So we have already learned something about sine x, the very basics. And what we have learned so far is that a sine function which could be drawn kind of like this, right? So, okay, it's a periodic function. However, if we take only a part of it, which is between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, then it becomes one-to-one function, right? If we consider minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. So within this interval, when x is between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, sine inverse of sine x will be equal to x, correct? So if I have to draw this function, I could always sketch like this, that within this interval, it is going to be, when I say x, then let me use some guidelines here. Okay, so we are saying within minus pi by 2, let's say this is our minus pi by 2 and this is plus pi by 2. Is that okay? So in that case, sine inverse of sine x is equal to x within minus pi by 2. So at minus pi by 2, it is going to be minus pi by 2, correct? So the value will be minus pi by 2. So this is the line where y equals to minus pi by 2, right? So this is minus pi by 2. This place here is pi by 2, correct? Now at pi by 2, it is going to be plus pi by 2, correct? So the graph here will be kind of like this, a straight line, okay? This is the line y equals to pi by 2, correct? Now what happens if you're looking into the interval beyond pi by 2, correct? So let us say what happens when x is between pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. Now that is what we need to figure out. Now to work this out, what we can do here is we could consider that if I multiply by minus, all these signs will change, right? So if I multiply by negative, it becomes minus pi by 2 and the signs will change, right? So because when you multiply by negative, signs change. Minus 3 pi by 2, correct? Now this could be written as, let me write this quantity on the left side. So let me write this as minus 3 pi by 2 in this form. It is better to see it like this. Okay. Now how could I write minus 3 pi by 2 as minus pi by 2? So what I could do is I could take away all these numbers from pi, right? So I could do pi minus 3 pi by 2. In that case, x becomes pi minus x, and here we get pi minus pi by 2, correct? Now pi minus 3 pi by 2 is minus pi by 2, and in between we get pi minus x is less than pi by 2. Now with this small change, you notice that we have again got back to the minus pi by 2 interval, correct? But the angle theta has changed to pi minus x. You get an idea. So within this interval, sine inverse of sine x will be equal to pi minus x, not x. When x is between pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. You get an idea, right? So if you sketch it, then at pi by 2, if I write pi by 2 here, we get pi by 2, correct? So what we get really is a graph which will be kind of like this. You get an idea, right? So at 3 pi by 2, I get minus pi by 2. So that is 3 pi by 2. Do you see that? Now, you could follow the same method and then you will find that the graph of sine x could be drawn in this fashion, these lines being parallel. So what you notice here is that the graph between pi by 2 minus and plus is y equals to x, and between pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2 it is y equals to pi minus x, and then it will be y equals to x minus 2 pi, right? To get this, you have to follow the same method. You can now work with the interval 3 pi by 2 to 5 pi by 2, and likewise. So once you work like this, you will get this result. Is that clear? On this side, the graph will be y equals to minus pi minus x. Now I like you to do these calculations. So note, do above calculations for the intervals and check the result. Correct? So just as we did for one particular interval, you could do the same type of calculation for 3 pi by 2 to 5 pi by 2, and also on negative 3 pi by 2 to negative pi by 2. Follow the same method. So you'll get the value here which will represent sine x, sine inverse of sine x. And this is what you're going to see. So I hope it is absolutely clear. Now this particular graph which you see here, y equals to sine x only when the interval is between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Since sine x is one-to-one function within this interval, correct? In all other intervals, the value of the sine, it is periodic. So it could be related with pi plus minus the theta value. So I hope that makes co-function, you can say, correlated angles. So all other values are correlated values, correct? So that is how you get your result. I hope that helps. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. Thanks for watching and all the best.